So in one of my last trips to the local-ish used hobby store, I had picked up Blowout and some other games. Remember Blowout? The odd 2D alien shooter with the strange control scheme and Contra wannabe gameplay? Well, another game I picked up at the time was Trigger Man. Didn't look to be that promising, being published by Crave, but hey, I'm a sucker for bad games. And I sure as hell raged a bit playing this one. In Trigger Man, you play as Trigger Man, who has no other name that I could find, other than Frankenstein that another character accuses him of being. He's a hitman for one of the mafia families, and he's tasked with trying to level with another family and tell them that the hired family didn't have anything to do with the other family's family member being defamilied, or, murdered. The story is your cliched mafioso plot, and didn't really hook me in at all, which is fine as long as the gameplay was solid, I suppose. Too bad that fell flat too. See, I was excited to play it first. I loaded the game up, and this is what was shown on the demo screen. Not bad. The animations made me laugh like hell, sure, but it looked interesting. Like, the game auto-aimed for you, and all you had to do was move around, shoot, and dodge anti-familial bullets. I kinda liked that design choice, as it could focus more on intense action, and not having to aim and dodge at the same time. Cool stuff. But then I started the game and, oh, it's a first-person shooter now. A very bland, lackluster one at that. I understand that the devs probably didn't want to show off a first-person game in a track sequence, but it's really misleading to see what looks like two completely different gameplay styles. Enough on this though, let's get to the game. Controls are easy enough to figure out. R1 shoots, L1 reloads, X is the interact button, and L3 crouches. Add in the D-pad to change weapons, and that's about it. I know, there's not a lot to it. Square, triangle, and circle weren't used at all, which confuses me because there's no sprint option or ability to hug a wall for cover. Hell, for that matter, why not use one of the face buttons to crouch instead of that awkward to use L3? But oh well, it's something you do get used to. So when you first get in the game, you'll be thrown some objectives and be told to go about your mission. When you start, you only have a silenced pistol. That's it. You shortly find that there's a mini-map that shows any health packs, ammo caches, or objectives, along with enemies that will populate on it as red dots. Your goal is simply to shoot the enemies and complete your mission, usually by just getting to a specific point on the map. You know, standard FPS stuff. Shoot bad guys dead. There's a few weapons that you can use to achieve your objectives successfully. The pistol you begin with, a shotgun, SMG, sniper rifle, and although the demo shows you carrying an assault rifle, I didn't see one when I played the game, but then again, I didn't complete it. The game allegedly has 8 stages, and I couldn't complete the 6th. Why is that? Because the game is hard as balls. So here's the biggest deal breaker for me. Enemies are complete bullet sponges, especially in the beginning of the game when you only really have a pistol. And in the fact that you can barely carry any additional ammo, and you'll probably be backtracking a few times to reload your ammo before continuing on. Once you get the shotgun, it's not nearly as bad, but the fact that the enemies contain health meters seems to make things worse, because you notice just how much ammo you have to fire to take down a single thug. Add in the fact that you can't pick up any enemy's ammo or weapons, and you just feel screwed at times. The thing about the game's difficulty is that it's just so damn uneven. There's places where you'll just mow down enemies, especially when you get non-pistol weapons, but then you'll reach a point where you just want to throw your controller in frustration. Enemies will seem to spot you immediately, even if you're trying to sneak around. Their accuracy is insane, and you'll fall quickly if you can't completely put yourself behind cover. Add in somewhat sporadic checkpoints, and you may quit like I did. Or maybe you won't, I don't know you. So let's fast forward to the point that I got pissed off at and left. It's the 6th mission, and you are told to whack some guy and get his cell phone to take a call from the supposed mole in the organization. It took me at least a dozen tries just to get past the 2 guys from the start. In the mission prior, you had to escort the Don to safety, and in this mission, he gives you his pistol to take care of the rest of them. Mistakenly thinking that this was a better pistol, but it only fires marginally faster than the slow as hell silenced one, so I just used the SMG, which works great at range. But even so, they fire at you so quickly that by the time you may have taken down one of them, you only have a fraction of your life remaining. And that's usually just how the game's combat works. In fact, the best way to survive? Aim for the head at all times. Although the enemies can take a dozen bullets each, one headshot is all it takes to put them down prematurely. You'll learn fairly quickly that whenever you see someone, try to aim for their noggin. One thing of note is that you do get access to some throwing knives at times, and when thrown, you get to control them in a first-person on-rail style camera system. Not to say that this helps, as I still struggle to hit anyone with them, but hey, it's still kinda cool nonetheless. And now we move on to the stealth sections, of which I only ran into one, but according to a guide I looked up, there's apparently 3. They suck. You have to do things just right, and if you mess up, you may end up cornering yourself, kinda like how I did here. Good thing for guides, I suppose. That, and there is a level completion cheat, which is how I was able to get past level 3. Or was it 2? I can't remember, but either way, the final part of that stage, just screw that. The graphics are, by PS2 era standards, pretty meh. Bland, dark colors, emotionless characters, lackluster textures. The game won't be considered eye candy by any stretch of the imagination, that's for sure. As for the audio, there isn't much to talk about. Generic speech samples are used when the enemy thugs see you, and the guns sound, well, like guns. The voice acting doesn't exist, as everything story related is put on the screen via a large block of text, with no moving mouths. Was this game supposed to be on PS1 or something? One cool thing I did see was when firing a sniper rifle on the rooftop. I saw a bullet casing roll down a roof. Now, why wasn't more attention put into the rest of the game if they could do something badass like bullet casing physics? Plus, there's no blood involved. For a game about 2 warring mafia families, I was expecting some gore in some way, shape, or form, but no blood? Come on, guys. And that's Trigger Man. Between the mediocre visuals, lack of speech, irritating gunplay, and overall subpar presentation, I'd have to give this game a hard pass if you see it, unless you really want to add somewhat crappy games to your library. There's not really any redeeming features, and the stuff that should have been cool, like the throwing knife special camera, are just tacked on features that don't really take advantage of any real potential. I can't help but wonder what the game would be like if it was actually in the style shown in the demo, with a third-person hitman running around auto-aiming at enemies, but I guess I can dream. But what we got here was just something that's just boring to play. Final score? 2 out of 7. This is Reaper. Happy fragging.